Hey everybody, this is Marina, your podcast host at UNBOSSED. Here we go. At UNBOSSED, I interview amazing women in Chicago. There is so much woman power in this city that I want to provide these women a platform to tell their story. Please connect with us and please consider supporting by sharing, liking, commenting the podcast. Tell all your Netflix friends and family about it. Submit a recommendation for a guest, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and donate by clicking on the anchor link and help me continue to make great episodes. I hope you enjoy and welcome to the show. Hey everybody, this is Marina and you're back with UNBOSSED. Today, Dr. Suzet McKinney is back for part 2 of our Life Sciences conversation. She is Principal and Director of Life Sciences at Sterling Bay. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be back.
From last time to this time, I did even more studying on you.
And oh no.
Yes, of course. And oh my God, let me tell you, I am so impressed about, how you present yourself, how you talk about the city of Chicago. And this is like a special for this topic because we're going to talk about like life sciences and how you use that as a tool to really create equitable opportunities and enhance the city in ways that I never could imagine. And so I wanted to say, just first of all, completely starstruck, congratulations on what you're doing.
Wow.
And I'm so excited to talk about this today.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about it with you.
Awesome. So if I'm going to give you like a quick refresher, but last time we went through your career and we got all the way through the fact that, you got to where you are today, which is Sterling Bay.
Sure.
We though left out one of the details, which is your transition between the medical district and then getting into Sterling Bay. So I was wondering if, as an intro to the conversation, can you give us a little bit more of context, and as it relates to life sciences too, how this newer position has enabled you to use life sciences, or has how you see this position will enable you and continues to enable you to use life sciences, and how did you make this decision? Basically, what made you move?
Okay, sure, no problem at all. So I think the first thing that I would start out saying to you is that when I was at the Illinois Medical District, people would always ask me, well, you're CEO of a healthcare and technology innovation district. What does that mean? What do you do every day? What does a typical day look like?
Yeah.
And of course, there was never a typical day. Every day looked different.
Yeah.
But my standard response, I would say, my role is the perfect storm of public health, healthcare, real estate, finance, big business deals, and politics all rolled into one.
Nice.
So, and I start with that because I want to, sort of express the point that I wasn't a novice when it came to real estate. Once I transitioned over to Sterling Bay, I did have a lot of real estate responsibility at the medical district. However, one of the things that we were grappling with at the medical district was the 16-year difference in life expectancy for people living on the west side as opposed to people living downtown. And
we're talking about what is the miles difference? Like a mile, 2 miles?
Well, I don't know the exact mileage, maybe 2 or 3 miles, but 3 stops on the Blue Line train.
3 stops on the Blue Line, 16. I just want to highlight this point. 3 stops on the Blue Line, 16-year difference life expectancy, because it's huge.
Exactly. And, what we came to understand and learn is that difference in life expectancy was due to the social determinants of health. Things like lack of access to jobs, lack of access to education, lack of access to proper transportation, or neighborhood infrastructure, those types of things. So the Illinois Medical District Rush University Medical Center, a number of institutions within the medical district, as well as a number of institutions outside the medical district, were all working very closely with West Side communities to figure out what we could do to help address the problem and how we could best support people living in the West Side neighborhoods, as well as businesses operating in the West Side neighborhoods, and even nonprofits for that matter. So from the medical district perspective, we were also at the time trying to identify a niche area for our district. If you look at innovation districts, medical districts, technology districts across the country, they all have a niche area. Well, to make a long story short, we settled on the life sciences as our niche area. And we began working to build a life sciences innovation park within the medical district. Through our research, and this is part of the reason why we selected life sciences, we learned about a number of economic benefits that the life sciences brings to any city or major urban area. My favorite statistic of all that we learned was that 40% of life sciences jobs only require a high school diploma or GED. So for me, I felt that it was the perfect niche area for our medical district, being situated on the West Side, but also understanding that we could attack people's life expectancy disparities and health outcome disparities indirectly through their economic disparities. So we could use the life sciences as a mechanism to provide jobs for the unemployed and the underemployed living on the West Side. Because I firmly believe if people don't have to worry about how they're going to put food on the table at night, then it frees up a little more brain space to take care of your own personal physical health, right?
Absolutely.
So that's how it started.
I love that strategy too. Sorry to interrupt, because it still gives them ownership over their life. You know what I mean? So like, it's not like we are donating healthcare, right? Where one may feel like a beggar of some sort, or somebody who's like needs a donation, right? Which puts a person in a different position than being like from a position of power and from a position of like, I am working for this and I can take care of myself and my family and all the good things that come from that.
That's absolutely right. It's not giving a handout. It is empowering people and creating opportunity for them to have access to the resources that we all have access to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And empowering people to do what it is they wish to do anyway.
Yeah.
So, people are always surprised when I quote that statistic. And, I say, listen, these are not the, researcher jobs. Obviously, these are not the PhDs, the scientists, the researchers, the CEOs of startups. But they are all of the roles, the jobs that support those people, which are equally as important.
Absolutely.
Because without the support, the CEOs, the entrepreneurs, the scientists couldn't do the work that they do.
And I have to say that is 100% true. Shout out to Keisha right now, who was helping us through some of these technical difficulties. So Keisha, you made it to my podcast. I hope you listen.
And for the audience, Keisha is my assistant. I could not do what I do without her.
Yeah, and I have also an assistant who helps me with my podcast. So like everything is like 360. I love that.
That's right.
And you go further than that, because I learned that you not only provided this opportunity, but you also negotiated with the private sector to create these opportunities.
Absolutely. In fact, that was really my introduction to Sterling Bay, because I was coordinating and meeting and talking to a number of private sector, commercial real estate firms, development firms, trying to convince them to come to the medical district and build a life sciences facility in the medical district. So I had a number of developers I was talking to. Sterling Bay was one of many. And I remember my meeting with Sterling Bay, obviously very well. But I came in and I was talking to them about the vision for the medical district and really what I was trying to do through the life sciences, not giving away everything, because I had already had the experience of sharing my full vision with a couple of developers. And then the next thing I knew, they were out in the media sharing my vision as though it was their own. So that was interesting. So I came in, I had my meeting with Sterling Bay, and I was talking about the medical district and how wonderful it is, but also this life expectancy disparity that we see. And by this point, I believe it's NYU's College of Medicine had issued a life expectancy report. They had studied life expectancy nationally, and Chicago came in dead last because they found a 30-year difference in life expectancy if you live in Inglewood, which is on the south side, as opposed to living in Streeterville. So by the time I came in to meet with Sterling Bay, that was yet another dire statistic that I had in my mind. And I'm so passionate about Chicago and about Chicago winning. And I tell people everywhere I go, I love this city. I grew up in this city. This is the city that raised me. And that is why this is the city that I chose to come back to and do my life's work here. So I was probably just speaking very passionately about Chicago and what I was trying to do at the time that I came in to have my meeting with Sterling Bay. And not long after that meeting, they called me back and, we had a conversation. They asked me to come back in for another conversation. So I came in for another conversation and we talked a little bit about, that meeting and how well we all thought it had gone. And that was when they told me that they were planning to launch a life sciences division, and to really raise Chicago as a major life sciences market, which got me super excited because at this point, I'm thinking we can provide benefit to West Side residents, but we also need to provide benefit to South Side residents as well. And then they said that they wanted to expand their life sciences footprint nationally. Wow. And asked me if I would be open to the opportunity to come and lead the life sciences division. And to say that I was shocked was an understatement. I honestly thought I was coming back in for that second meeting to talk details about them coming to the medical district to build this life sciences facility. So I wasn't prepared to answer the question, So I tried to be as gracious as I could and ask, if they could just give me a little bit of time to think about it, because there was no question. I absolutely loved the work that I was doing in the medical district. To say that I was all in at the medical district would also be an understatement. But the more that I thought about this opportunity and the more I reflected on the research that we had done into the life sciences and the economic benefits of the life sciences, honestly, Marina, I said to myself, this is an opportunity for me not only to do great work and impact disinvested, underprivileged communities in Chicago, but all across the country.
Yeah.
And that was the deciding factor for me.
I love that.
So my number one goal with any body of work that I do is to make an impact on people's lives in a positive way. And so I said, okay, well, I guess this is the next step.
Let's
not going anywhere.
Let's do this.
But I tell my students and my mentees all the time, when an opportunity presents itself, go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, like you say, like you say, go big or go home.
That's right. Go big or go home.
I love that. And I'm so glad you took this opportunity. And so I had like, um, I wonder if we can introduce life sciences briefly and then go into um, how Sterling Bain is doing this today in
Sure.
Chicago.
Hmm.
So for people that I don't know what life sciences are, would you mind sharing with us?
Sure.
Perhaps like like I'm sure you'll have the book definition, but in practice, what does it mean for people that are just, starting to learn about this?
Sure. So, very simply and very broadly, the life sciences includes anything that seeks to improve human health or animal health. A little bit more specifically, I would say, the life sciences really encompasses everything from medicine to physiology to agriculture to biotech.
Mm.
Um, Life sciences research allows us to fight disease such as COVID 19.
Yeah.
And just as an example, the development of the COVID 19 vaccine. That's life sciences all day.
Nice.
But yes, life sciences research helps us fight disease.
Yeah.
It helps us feed our families.
Yeah.
It helps us combat climate change. It even helps us find new fuel sources.
Yeah.
So, the list is really endless. But if you just think improvement of human health, improvement of animal health, that is the life sciences.
Beautiful.
It's a very, very broad
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you said also, 40% of the jobs within life sciences are require only high school diploma or GED. Would you give us examples within this industry now that we know about it? What are some of those roles that people could be Googling right now? Like get on Google and be like, what are some of the roles that I could Google that would that with a GED or a high school diploma I could be applying for?
Sure. So some of those roles could be anything from, coffee shop operators. Let me preface by saying one of the distinct characteristics for the life sciences, I mean, the facilities themselves are typically combination laboratory office buildings, but with amenities within those buildings. Because think about it like this: a young entrepreneur might have to work a 9 to 5 job in order to help, like, manage their financial responsibilities while they are researching, while they're trying to launch their company. So in that situation, that young entrepreneur, when he or she finishes their 9 to 5, they're going to their lab to do the work. They need coffee, they need food, they need all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So coffee shop operators, baristas, facility managers, maintenance people, food and beverage operators. So working in those restaurants, those cafes. My daughter is in college and she is working at a fitness facility near her campus. A lot of these life sciences buildings are now, these life sciences communities are now becoming highly amenitized. That's certainly a specialty that we have here at Sterling Bay, but fitness facilities.
Yeah.
So people working in those fitness facilities. It could be cashiers,
Yeah.
Customer service personnel. So those are some of the types of roles that don't require a person to have a college degree necessarily.
Yeah.
I always place the emphasis on the point that these are roles that support the scientific and the medical breakthrough work that's happening within those laboratories and within those offices.
And can I just say to add to that, I think there's something special about those roles within a like medical district or life sciences district that doesn't happen in a random coffee shop at the street, which is you would be part of this group of individuals that are studying science or that are doing many different things, and being part of exposing yourself to all kinds of experiences,
Exactly.
cross-pollination of ideas. And who knows, like you may get inspired into going into one of the sciences, yourself. And so I think that's definitely one of the things that I see as additional benefit of being part of a community like that.
Absolutely. It's creating an ecosystem of
Mhm.
innovation, of collaboration, of knowledge sharing, and interacting with one another. I always like to say, you know, the best thing that can happen in a life sciences innovation district. You have a person from company A that
Yeah.
goes into the coffee shop,
Yeah.
and while they're standing there waiting for their coffee, they might meet someone from company B.
Yeah.
And they just start talking to one another. And the next thing you know, company C gets launched as a partnership between these two people who met in the coffee shop.
Lovely.
You know?
Nice.
So it's a community, it's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
And anytime you immerse yourself in a knowledge ecosystem, ideas are generated, and that's how new companies get started. That's how new technologies come to market, because it's just this robust, vibrant ecosystem of people with ideas and opinions who are not afraid to put them out there, to talk about them, and to collaborate with others to really launch them into something big.
Love it. That's really awesome. And so tell me about let's just dive into the newest addition
Yeah.
to Sterling Bay. And then I want to know, like, what was your hand in it? Because I don't 100% know your hand was in it. Are you going to be what is that called, the unveiling?
The groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking.
Oh,
Yes. Groundbreaking.
absolutely.
When is that happening, the groundbreaking?
The groundbreaking. So we are having a groundbreaking ceremony on October 19th.
Ooh.
And that is the groundbreaking for Sterling Bay's very first life sciences building in Lincoln Yards.
Yes.
The building itself is called Ally, Ally, Ally at 1229 West Concord Place. And we are so excited about it because, we believe that it's critically important to not just kickstarting development at Lincoln Yards, but also critical to building Chicago's reputation as a future home and a major market for life sciences innovation. So,
Strategically, that location, what does it bring as you all thought about it?
yeah, so it's going to bring, well, first of all, Ally will set a new standard for best in class laboratory facilities.
Nice.
I'm trying to, well, there's been a lot. I was trying to figure out where you
Link.
could quickly grab an image of the building, but I can send it to you afterwards.
Yeah, it's on the papers. I'll put it out there. It's
All right.
yeah.
Awesome. But I mean, essentially, it is going to offer ultra modern laboratory facilities and access to this brand new innovation district that runs along the Chicago River. One of the things that I'm really excited about, and this is what I mean when I say ultra modern and best in class lab facilities. I mean, obviously, post COVID, everyone is very concerned about their own health and safety.
Yep.
And people are obviously really concerned about going back into office buildings and just not having access to fresh air, open air. And this facility on every single floor will have open air terraces that people can go out to, which is very unique because laboratory buildings, I challenge anyone to show me a laboratory building anywhere in this country that has open air terraces on every floor. It just
Absolutely.
doesn't exist. but we are building that into this facility. We will also have very large and open air. There it is. You have the photo up.
Yeah.
Open air conference space. You can actually see those terraces on the left side of the building, right?
Yeah, that looks beautiful.
Yeah. And the first floor is a wide open shared space for conferencing and collaboration. But what's really unique about that conferencing space is that the doors and the windows open up to the outside and
Ooh,
flows right onto a patio that also flows right down to the river.
that is awesome.
Yes,
Can
we
I
are.
live there?
Well, you can't live in that building, but you can live in a building within the district because we are also building residential facilities here as well.
Wow.
Um, Lincoln Yards will be the ultimate live, work, learn, play community.
Wow, I like it.
Because, again, in addition to these life sciences facilities, we are building residential facilities. We're working to also bring in some healthcare facilities, um, opportunities for physical fitness, gyms and things of that sort, and also really highly amenitizing our restaurant and retail amenities that will be a part of the district as well, not to mention over 20 acres of open public park space.
Amazing.
So, because while this is going to be a distinct community,
Mhm.
we also want to provide additional benefits to the existing community.
Yeah.
And Lincoln Yards is really sort of at the intersection of Lincoln Park, Bucktown, and Wicker Park.
Yeah.
So those are very well established, distinguished communities
Yeah.
here in the city. We don't want to detract from those communities at all. We just simply want to add to them. So
Beautiful.
we're very excited about Ally
Yeah.
and Lincoln Yards.
Yeah. The medical district, in contrast, was in, I think, what you called a reference as a opportunity zone, right?
Yes.
And so was this defined as an opportunity zone? And if not, do you have other projects going into opportunities or opportunity areas?
So Lincoln Yards is not in an opportunity zone. And just for the audience, I'll clarify what opportunity zones are. The In 2017, the Trump administration passed what was called the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. I believe that's the formal name of it. And one of the things that the legislation did was created these opportunity zones across the country. In each state, the governors were allowed to select the areas of their state that would be designated as opportunity zones. Here in Illinois, the governor at the time allowed the mayor of Chicago to designate the opportunity zones here in the city.
Mhm.
But by definition, an opportunity zone is a geographic community area that that is considered, low income, vulnerable, disinvested. So the whole concept behind opportunity zones was to incentivize developers to build developments in these low
Yeah.
income, underinvested community areas. And so the medical district sits on the west side of the city and was a part of one of the city's designated opportunity zones. Lincoln Park doesn't have that issue. Bucktown, Wicker Park don't have that issue. So they are not designated opportunity zones. However, Sterling Bay does have a property on the south side of Chicago in the Inglewood community, which I believe is an opportunity zone. We haven't yet identified the best and highest use for how we will develop that property. Obviously, we will want it to be something that will bring great benefit to the neighborhood, to that community. So I think we will since Lincoln Yards is a little further down the pipeline in its process, we'll kick that off while we continue to work to figure out how best to develop our Southside property.
Nice. Amazing. And how about nationally? Tell us a couple of things that are close to your heart that is happening at the national level that you're leading as well.
Well, I will tell you, nationally, the life sciences is exploding. I mean, life sciences was already a very fast growing industry prior to COVID. But when COVID happened, there was the immediate need to develop, technologies for testing, but also for development of the vaccine and other, diagnostic tools. Honestly, I believe that just the world that we live in,
Yeah.
We're living in more densely populated areas.
Yeah.
International travel is so easy. You can be on one side of the world one day in the morning, and by the end of that day, be on the opposite side of the world. But with the denser living, with ease of international travel, that also creates easier opportunities for diseases to spread, for diseases to mutate. So we're always going to have an issue with emerging and re-emerging diseases. And so for that reason, I believe for that reason alone,
Yeah.
I think the life sciences will be relevant and will grow as an industry for generations to come.
Yeah.
But right now, after everything we've been through with COVID, it's just exploding. I believe the figure that I read recently was that in the last quarter, venture capital investment in the life sciences topped $20 billion.
Wow.
Largest it's ever been.
In a quarter?
Yes, in a quarter.
That's a lot of investment.
It is. For us here at Sterling Bay, our national expansion is going very well. We opened our office in California, which we call SB West, Sterling Bay West. So we now have an office in Irvine, California, and we were fortunate enough to acquire 2 properties almost immediately in the San Diego area. And you may have read most recently, we purchased a 5-building life sciences complex just outside San Diego. So now 7 facilities in San Diego, 1 in Boulder, and 1 in Raleigh-Durham. And we believe we are getting close to projects in both Philadelphia and Boston.
Wow.
So, I think our California office has been open exactly 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been at Sterling Bay for almost 8 months. So this has all happened within the last year. So it's very, very fast.
Nice.
And I will say, there are other markets that we have our eyes on. So, stay tuned for more.
Speaking of staying tuned, what do you personally have going on? Where can people find you? Do you have any events happening beyond? We have the groundbreaking of
Yes.
the new addition in Lincoln Park. What else is happening with you?
Oh my goodness. I feel like I've just been on a whirlwind of speeches and things of that sort. But actually tomorrow, I will be giving the keynote address at the inaugural State of the Region conference, which is being hosted by the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning.
Nice.
And I'm going to be talking about the life sciences and the importance of the life sciences with regards to our regional economy.
Yeah.
So that's happening tomorrow. If anyone's interested in that, they can just Google the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. I'm sure it's on their website. And let's see, the groundbreaking I mentioned is October 19th.
Yeah.
So those are my 2 biggest things coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me one more time about life sciences. Such a beautiful concept that you're spearheading as part of your leadership here in Chicago. Love what you're doing with it. Keep up the good work, and thank you so much for your awesomeness.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and for having me back twice. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. And maybe we'll see you again in a couple of years and see where you are.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Woo! There you have it. I hope you liked this episode, and please don't forget to share, like, comment on the podcast link. Tell all your naturals and friends and family about it. Submit a recommendation for a guest at www.unbossed.io. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Donate by clicking on the anchor link and help me continue to make great episodes. You can find all this information on www.unbossed.io. See you next time. Oh, that was good.